Well, happy Friday to everybody. Hope you are doing well the day after Christmas. Hopefully, there's no big hangover there. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas with friends and family. Or if you have certain traditions, I hope you were able to continue those at Christmas time. My Christmas went pretty well. I must say, better than I expected. The extended family behaved, and everybody was amicable, and there were no. Hello, Ben, and thank you very much again. It's very kind of you. The extended family, everybody, like I said, was acting. I guess they're on their best P's and Q's. I don't know if the siblings warned them to or encouraged them to be a little more agreeable or whatever the case may be, but it worked out well, um, better than I expected. Very good, Ben. I'm glad you had a great experience as well. Um, I just Christmas can do that to people. It can sometimes make them uh, act on their best behavior, but it would be nice if people did that year round. But hey, we'll take it where we can get it. All right. So this has been a hectic week as far as trying to get these games in because of Christmas and everything else going on. I would say we're back on regular schedule, but then next week you got New Year's, but that's not really going to be that big of a deal because I'm not going anywhere for New Year's. I'm not driving, and I'm not. I am. If I stay up long enough to watch the ball drop, that'll be a moral victory. Um, Even though I'm retired, by about 11 o'clock, I'm ready to hit the sheets. So, but I think I'll be able to on Wednesday night to be able to stay up and get a game in, or not get a game in, but see the ball drop. That would really be weird if I played a game at New Year's Eve and the game went into New Year's. That would be really really odd. Um, all right. Oh, you're in Wisconsin. Okay, I thought you were, but I wasn't 100% sure where you were from. But that's why it's so cold up there, I guess. Actually, on Christmas Day here, it was like 61 or 62 degrees. So uh, we had there was a lot of people to feed all the extended families and stuff. But we had, since it was so nice, some of the people went out on the porch and ate, and that helped us get through the dinner rotation a little bit faster, so that we weren't there all night, which is a big thing because the wife had to go to work this morning, so she had to get up at 5 o'clock this morning. So I couldn't stay at my mother's house until 9 o'clock at night. We had to get out of there a little after 7 because the 45-minute drive home. So by the time we got home and you unwind a little bit, it's almost 9 o'clock. And for her, it's time to bed. So anyway, but I'm glad to hear that people had a great Christmas time. Um, High of 60s, Doctor D. Cool. 40. Hey, you can't beat well. The only way to beat a 4-day weekend is to be retired. But it's there's still some days where I'm waking up and I'm like, I keep thinking I'm working, but I'm on vacation, and the vacation's going to end. I got to go to work the next day or whatever. But I think I've kind of gotten around that now. Hopefully, I don't know. Anyway, back to business. We are at the final game of the June 5th date in the American League. This is the final game. Remember, I go East Coast to West Coast. So we had the last 3 games. The last 2 games have been on the West Coast, one in Oakland and one in California. Now we're in Seattle for the final game on June the 5th, which I believe was a Friday in 1987. And we're at the Kingdome in Seattle for the Kansas City Royals against the Seattle Mariners. Seattle just mired in last place, 19-34. Kansas City trying to get back to that 500 mark and contend in the American League West. The game is number 365 overall in the replay. We're at the Kingdome. It's a hitter's paradise for home runs, as it's 1-17. Singles not so much, 1-5, but 1-17. There was a roster move. Mickey Brantley was called up, and Ray Quinones is either, I'm assuming he went on the injured list. I don't think they would have sent him down to the minors, but he's not on the roster. He's replaced by Mickey Brantley, and Mickey Brantley will be the designated hitter in this game, and Domingo Ramos will take over as a shortstop for the absent Quinones. But that's the only roster move heading into this game. There might be some more coming up, but right now that's the only roster move we have. The starting pitchers are two left-handers. We have Danny Jackson of the Kansas City Royals, and we got Lee Guterman of the Seattle Mariners. Guterman was a split time between relief pitching and starting. See, he's got a relief rating of 3 and a start rating of 6. So that's where we're at there. I do need to bring the game up on the Strat-O-Matic computer. So let me do that very quickly. And I hope if Santa was nice and brought you any Strat sets or other gaming sets from other companies, that you are happy with what you received and are going to take advantage of it and do some gaming. That's what the hobby's all about. So now let me go. Here we go. Last game on Friday, June the 5th, 1987 is going to be this one. And we'll bring it up on the computer and get the cumulative stats to date for the starting pitcher, Lee Guterman, and see just what he has done on the replay. And then we'll get this ball rolling. All right, so let's check him out here and see how many starts he had real world. Let's check his notes here. All right, so he started 17 games in the real season. Started 17 games. He pitched a total. Doesn't say how many. The card doesn't say how many games he pitched total. I don't know. Strat-O-Matic computer tells me that. Not that I can find it. I don't think it says games on here. I have to look that up. But anyway, 17 of his games he appeared in were starts. This will be start number 1 for him. So far in relief, in the real world, let me get it back over here, 11-4 in the real season with a 3.81 ERA, so quite serviceable. And he had, like I said, 17 starts. He didn't have any saves. He never obtained a save in the replay or in the season, or the replay for that matter. So we'll see what he does here. He's going to get 17 starts. So I imagine he's going to be on a long string of being in the starting rotation. In the replays, 0-2 with a 6.75 ERA and just 11 innings pitched. He pitched 113 real world. So we'll see what he can do. We will see what he can do. Oh, Dr. D, 1960, very good. The only thing I know about 1960 was the World Series. I don't know much, but it was the final year of having the set 8 teams before the expansion era started. So that's, back to the old days where each team had 8 teams in their league and you kind of played a set schedule. Everybody played everybody the same amount of times, and it was kind of a comfortable little thing they did there. And then they brought expansion in 61 with the Angels and the new Washington Senators, after the old Washington Senators went to Minnesota. All right. So let's look at Guterman. He has a -1 hold. He's a +2 hold, but Dave Valley is a -3, so that's a net -1 hold. Danny Jackson has a net -2 hold. Guterman wild pitch is a 5, and his balk is a 0. Pass ball and Valley is only a 2. So balks and pass balls shouldn't be a problem for Seattle, you wouldn't think. All right, Willie Wilson will lead things off. Willie Wilson on the replay is hitting .299. 2 homers, 12 driven in. He hit .279 in the real season. And, of course, before we have the first pitch, it is almost now a prerequisite to have the ceremonial first sip, although I've taken a couple of sips before that weren't official. This is the official ceremonial first sip. And that is good coffee. McDonald's Breakfast Blend. Love it. All right. Simple, but very satisfying. All right, here is Willie Wilson, switch hitter. He will bat right-handed against Mr. Guterman. And we're underway. 1-4. That's a ground ball to short. So right away, the new shortstop Ramos is going to he doesn't get challenged with an X chance, but the ball does find him. So It's amazing how that happens. Get a new shortstop, and the very first play goes right to short. However, this one was routine, so he had no issues. So here's Kevin Seitzer, third baseman. On the replay, he's only hitting 260, 8 homers, 30 driven in. He had 323 real world. He's trying to turn things around here. Let me see if make sure I've got this over far enough where the dice aren't getting cut off. Hopefully not. But I'm trying to keep it where the score, where the cards, when I get to this end of the score sheet, it still show. 3-7, and that's a fly to center, 2 down. But I want to get as close as I can because I know sometimes it's hard to see the cards from a big distance. I'm trying to get as close as I can without, losing the peripheral so that you can see the cards and still see the score sheet and the dice. It's a challenge sometimes, but it's a work in progress to get everything worked around the way I would like it. So hopefully it's doing all right. Let me take a quick view and see what you guys are seeing. Sure. Looks like the dice tray is not cut off too bad. So it looks like you can still see everything pretty good. All right, so here's Danny Tartable, right fielder. He's hitting 322 on the replay, 13 homers, 37 driven in. He hit 309 real world. 5-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. That's Harold Reynolds. He's a 2E21. We'll see if he's been watching his Baseball Tonight tutorials over the holidays. Make the play, and he looks like he might. That 2 and a 10 is going to be good. 2 and a 10 is a G1, and that's a 7, and he's an E21. There's no 7, so yes, he did. He was doing his homework, and Reynolds makes the play, no issues. And how about that, Mr. Lee Guterman? 1-2-3 inning against the Royals here in the top of the first. And that will take us to the bottom of the first, where Danny Jackson will come aboard and pitch. Jackson, I believe the next season he gets traded to Cincinnati in the Kurt Stillwood trade. In the 87 season, he was 9-18 with a 4.02 ERA in the real season. On the replay, he's 4-3 with an ERA of 3.84, so not too far off on that. And he'll be facing Mickey Brantley. Brantley was up with the Mariners briefly early in the season, but he's back now. He's only had 23 at-bats in the replay. He's hitting 174 with 1 home run. The real season, he hit 302 with 14 home runs. So he's looking to see if he can maybe spark this Mariner offense a bit against Danny Jackson. 6-7. That's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Frank White, the venerable Frank White. He's a 2E11. 2 and a 10 is good. That's a 3. That could be problems. Sometimes those 3s are a little bit iffy. So we know the 2 and the 10 is good. I'm sorry, yeah, and the 11 error rating on Frank White. There is no 3 though, so that's good for him. So came up with a 3 there, but Frank White was able to handle it. And you would think on the carpet at the Kingdom that it would be you get true bounces, and you shouldn't have any issues, but you never know. It could hit a seam or something. So here's Phil Bradley. He's hitting 208 on the replay, really struggling. 5 homers, 17 driven in. He had 297 real world. He's one of the reasons why the Mariners are doing so poorly because he just hasn't gotten it going. And he's had 197 at bats, so it's not like it's early. 410, right-handed, is a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Seitzer, 4E26. That 4, he can maybe sneak a base hit past him. And he probably will with that 9. Let's see, 4 and a 9. Now, he might get to it. Nope, 4 and 9, he does get to it. That is a 14, and he is an E26. There's a 10, 11, 15, and 17, but no 14. So good play for Seitzer. 2 up and 2 down. 2 up and 2 down, and that will bring up John Christensen, the right fielder. He's in there for Kingery against the lefty. They're kind of doing a platoon thing here, bringing in the right-hander. He had on his card, 80% of his total at-bats came against left-handers, so he was definitely in there as a platoon option. On the replays, hitting 265, 2 homers, 6 driven in. He had 242 real world. This will be at bat number 50 for him in the replay. 211, and that's a fly to center, and that's going to end the inning. So Danny Jackson goes 1, 2, 3. Down go the M's. We played 1, and we've got nothing going on here in the Kingdom. But you would think if they get some ballpark results, that would change. So Guterman back out will face the designated hitter Juan Beniquez. Beniquez hitting .259 on the replay, 4 homers, 23 driven in. He hit .251 in the real season. 2-9, and that's going to be a double, solid double for Juan Beniquez. Right between, unfortunately for him, he had a couple of diamond shots here that, well, even with the 17 and the 19, would have been outs, but boy, he's got some diamond shots here, but he found that double that was kind of sandwiched in between there. So nothing wrong with the leadoff double at all. Hello, Jeremy. Good to see you. Hope you had a nice Christmas. Frank White, the batter, second baseman. He's hitting .239 on the replay. 5 homers, 16 driven in. He at .245 real world. Four, 6. And that's a single to right field. Now the right one arm. So I think with nobody out, you'd be looking at a 1-11. It just wouldn't be, it's only 55% chance, and there's nobody out. So I think they will play station to station with that. Hello, Scott. Good to see you. I think they'll play station to station when it comes to that. First and third, nobody out now for Bo Knows as Bo Jackson is up. Jackson sitting .239 on the replay, 7 homers, 18 driven in. He at .235 real world. The infield for the Mariners is playing back for the double play. They need outs in the worst way. So let's see what Bo knows. He's got a couple of diamond shots. He's got 3 diamond shots against lefties. So we'll see if he finds one. Nope, 4-2. It's a ground ball first base C. So with the infield playing back, it's going to be a 3-1 put out, but the runners will advance. Scoring is Beniquez on RBI ground out for Bo Jackson. His 19th run batted in of the season. Comes on a 3-1 ground out. As the first baseman, Alvin Davis, only could flip to Guterman for the out. So Frank White goes to second. The Royals are now on the board. And here is bye-bye Balboni, Steve Balboni. He's hitting .150 on the replay, 8 homers, 17 driven in. He had .207 real world. But he's had his struggles in the replay. 2-5, that's a ground ball to third. That'll freeze the runner Frank White at second, 2 down. And that'll bring up our first clutch situation for Angel Salazar. Shortstop. In the clutch, he loses a couple of hits. 2-9 and 2-10. He also loses a hit on 2-3. So he's got 3 anti-clutch ratings against lefties. That's true, Dr. D, but they were playing back for the double play because there was nobody out and they needed outs. 4-9, and that's a split chance. 1-2 is a single, but that's going to be a line out to short to end the inning. So the Royals get a run, but that's all they're going to get. And we go to the bottom of the second, 1-0 Kansas City, leading the Mariners. Due up for the Mariners, it'll be, hello, Midlife. For the Mariners, it will be the hound dog, Jim Presley. Presley on the replay hitting only .211. 11 homers, 38 driven in. He at .247 real world. Time for some more coffee before it gets cold. That would be a shame to let coffee get cold. 1-5, and that's a boy, he's got some stuff here, but 1-5 is a ground ball to short. Salazar will throw out Presley, 1 away. That'll take us to Alvin Davis, the first baseman. Lefty on lefty matchup with Danny Jackson. Let's see here. .292 average. 10 homers, 29 driven in on the replay. Hit .295 real world. 2-3, and that's going to be a fly to center. 2 down. Here is Dave Valley. Valley, the catcher, limited duty. He's only had 77 at-bats in the replay, and he's hitting .195 with a homer and 9 driven in. He hit .256, I believe. Yeah, .256 real world. 6-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Frank White again. It's a 2E11 for Frank White. 2 and a 20 is good all day long. That is a 13, and he's an E11. Only 15, 17, and 18 are going to be errors for Frank White, so that's an easy play. And that will end the inning. Another 3-up, 3-down inning for Danny Jackson. We go to the third, and it is still 1-0 Kansas City. Due up for the Royals, number 9 hitter and the catcher, light-hitting Larry Owen. He hit 189 real world and 164 at bats. On the replay, Larry Owen is hitting 116 with a homer and 43 at bats. 2-9, and that is a ground ball to short. Ramos will take care of it. 2 down, or 1 away rather, to lead off the third. Flip the order back to Willie Wilson. Good idea to keep him off the bases, even at he's near the end of his career, could still run. 4-2, switch hitter batting right-handed is another ground ball first base C. So once again, Alvin Davis will field it and flip to Guterman covering. And that is going to be 2 up, 2 down. That'll bring up Kevin Seitzer, third baseman. He flew to center his first chance. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Hope you had a nice Christmas. 4-10, and that's going to be a strikeout. First strikeout of the game for Guterman. First strikeout for either pitcher, actually. And that will end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the third. Still 1-0. Hello, Tribe. Good to see you. Hope you had a nice Christmas. It'll be Domingo Ramos leading it off. And Tribe, if you just got here, there was one roster move by Seattle in this game. The normal shortstop, Ray Neonis, is either injured or sent to the minors, one or the other. and Mickey Brantley is taking his place on the roster. Brantley is going to be the DH in this game. And Domingo Ramos is taking over at short. Don't know how long Quinones is going to be out. I didn't look it up to see the length. I just knew that this was a transaction made on this date. So here's Domingo Ramos on the replay. Why do I have John Moses up there? Did I not put Ramos? All right, hold on. I got to figure something out here. What did I do here? Must have clicked something by accident because I've already got him having him at bat, and that didn't happen, obviously. I think I hit strikeout for Seitzer twice. Put it on Ramos's account. So now we're back to where we need to be. Starting the bottom of the third, Domingo Ramos hitting 192 on the replay and 26 at bats with 1 home run. He had 311 real world in 103 at bats. So he's only had 26. So he's only about one, not even barely a quarter of the way through. So he's got time to improve. 6-7, ground ball second base X. Boy, they're giving Frank White a big workout over there. As we've seen a couple times already, Frank White's error rating is an 11, which means the only way he makes an error is 15, 17, and 18. And that's not it. So the only thing we're checking now is the range, 2 and the 5. 2 and a 5 is a G3. That's all he needs. And that's a good play for Frank White. He's already had 3 assists in this game. Something in my throat there. Probably need more coffee or more water or something, but I don't know what was causing that, but make sure. I don't want to make sure this thing is not getting cut off over here. I don't think it is, but I'll move it just to be on the safe side. All right, here is John Moses. He had been hitting leadoff most of the season, but with Brantley there now, they're going to move, and a lefty, they're going to move Moses down to the 8th spot. Moses on the replay hitting 243, 3 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 246 in the real season. 4-10, right, switch hitter batting right-handed. Ground ball third base X. That is going to be Seitzer. He's a 4E26. 4-18, though, he catches a break. So he should make this. That's a 6. E26, there's no 6. There's a 10, 11, 15, and 17. So Seitzer will make the play. And you can see Danny Jackson Look at the score sheet. He's got the ground ball working. A couple of flies to center. Everything else has been a ground ball out. No strikeouts either. All right, here's Harold Reynolds. He's hitting what is he hitting here? 285 on the replay. No homer, 7 driven in. He hit 275 real world. 4-6, switch hitter batting right-handed, is going to be a walk. So the first walk issued by Danny Jackson. And Harold Reynolds might be looking to do the Jefferson's thing and move on up to second base. It is a -2 quotient for Jackson, though. He's a -1, and Larry Owen's a -1. So if he got the lead, it'd be a 1-14. That's still pretty good odds. So he's going to try for the lead, 2 through 6 or a 9. Gets the 8, he does not get the lead. So Harold Reynolds will have to hold. 2 down for Mickey Brantley. Grounded to second base his first time up. 2-4, and that's 2-5 would have been a potential home run. Of course, it would have missed out with the 18, but 2-4 is a pop out to Seitzer. And that's going to end. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot, dummy. Supposed to be up here. Good thing for a little bit of correction tape to make things right. All right, so 3 innings are in the books, and surprisingly, it's just 1-0. I was expecting more runs than this, and there's still 6 innings to go, so you never know what can happen. Guterman back out will face Tartable, Beniquez, and Frank White for the Royals. 1-5, and that's going to be a strikeout for Tartable. Second strikeout in a row for Guterman going back to the last inning. And that brings up Beniquez, the designated hitter. He doubled and scored the only run of the game. 1-5, and this time he grounds it to short. Ramos is there. Quickly 2 away. So Guterman's having a nice starting assignment, but just not getting the run support yet. Here's Frank White. 6-3, and that's a ballpark single check, but it's only 1-5, so that will be a liner to short. And that will end the inning. 1, 2, 3 they go here in the top of the 4th. So we go to the bottom of the 4th, still 1-0. And due up for the Mariners will be Bradley, Christensen, and Presley. See if they can do anything the second time through the order against Danny Jackson. 6-3 is a fly ball left field X. And that's Bo Jackson, 4E14. Strange they gave him just a 4 range rating with his speed. You'd think he'd have more range than that, but he obviously, I guess he didn't get a good read off the ball or something, because you would think with his 17 speed, he would have a better range than 4. But apparently, like I said, he must have not read the flight of the ball or something. All right, so we're going to see what Bo can do here. 4 and a 15, he'll probably get by with it. And he does. I'm looking at the infield. What am I doing? I need the outfield. I need outfield, not infield. 4 and a 15. He still gets by with it. F2. That's a 10. And he is an E14. E14, there is no 10 there. So Bo Jackson does make the play. 1 away. And that'll send up Christensen, the right fielder. Get a 1-8, and that's a ground ball to short. Easy play for Salazar. 2 up, 2 down. And that will take us to the hound dog, Jim Presley. He grounded to short his first time up. 3-2, that's a fly ball to right field, and that's handled by Tartable. So another 1, 2, 3 inning for Danny Jackson. Still hasn't gotten a strikeout through 4 innings, which is very unusual for him. He did have 152 strikeouts in 224 innings, but just hasn't found the strikeout roll yet. But he's got the shutout going, so that's more important. Top of the 5th we go, and here comes Bo Nose. He's going to lead off against Mr. Guterman. Jackson, his first time up. Got an RBI ground out, grounding to Alvin Davis, and it scored Beniquez for the only run of the game. 6-7. against Guterman is going to be a ground ball to short. That's Ramos, 4E36. This could be trouble. 4E36. And that 8's not going to help. That might be a base hit. Let's see. 4. No, actually, he's going to get to it. G3, he'll get to it. That's an 11, and he's an E36. There is no 11, so how about that? Ramos will actually make the play. One away. So it looked bad with the 4E36, but he got a positive roll out of it and was able to take care of Jackson. One away for bye-bye Balboni. 2-6 against the lefty. He's going to ground it to short. This one a much easier play for Ramos. And they're 2 away for Angel Salazar. Ben, I'm only doubting because I'm looking at the 4E36 rating. Just looks kind of daunting there. 5-9, and that's going to be a fly to center field, hauled in by Moses. And how about Mr. Guterman? 5 innings of pitching, only 1 run allowed. He's just not getting any run support. Had I known that the Mariners weren't going to score any runs, I would have played the infield in back there. But in the second inning with runners on the corners and nobody out, most people are not going to play the infield in, especially with Bo Jackson at the plate. But that's just the way it worked out. All right, bottom of the 5th we go. It'll be Davis, Valley, and Ramos due up against Danny Jackson. 5-4. 5-4 is a fly center field X. We're looking at Wilson. He's a 1E1, so we know he's going to get to it. And the only way he makes an error is on a 17. And so he's going to get it. You don't have to check the chart. I got that part memorized. So Davis flies to center for 1 away. And that'll send up Dave Valley. Valley grounded to second base his first time up. 6-10, and that's going to be a base hit. First hit of the game. There goes the no-hitter. 1-14 is a triple. That is a 14. Did Dave Valley have triples? He had 3, so we're going to allow it. That's his second triple of the replay. So Dave Valley will triple. And in his 79th at bat, he gets his second triple. He had 3 triples the whole season on 324 at bats. So if he starts getting like 5 or 6 triples, I'll have to cut him off. I don't want to be unrealistic here. Unless he gets it off his own card. But if you get it off the pitcher card, sometimes you got to make it things a little bit more realistic. Well, now, runner at third, 1 out. The infield's obviously going to come in for the Royals to try to cut that run off. And why is Moses up there? It should be Ramos. Ramos is up with the infield in. 4-9, and that's a walk. Second walk issued by Danny Jackson. It does set up a double play, but Moses is very difficult to double up. So they're going to play the infield. They're going to continue to play the infield in. That says that 1+ result right there. You got to watch that. But other than that, they should be okay. 6-8, switch hitter batting right. Well, it doesn't matter. That's a single to center field for John Moses. And the ball game is now tied at a run apiece. RBI single, John Moses. Ramos will stop at second base. And we have a tie game. Or will he stop it? So let's revisit that. He may not stop at second base. He was on first. The single went to center, which is Willie Wilson, who's got a +2 arm. So Ramos, who was not being held, makes him a 13. The +2 was a 15. A 1-15, and if they throw through, Moses would take second. So this could be a little bit of a quandary for the Royals. If they send him, do they throw through? He would get to third on a 1-15. This is where it's a little bit chinky doing it when you're playing head-to-head on both sides. You got to decide for both teams what's viable. But I think for Seattle, it's viable to send Ramos because, like I said, he's a 12. He was not being held, makes him a 13. The +2 arm is a 15. So if we go from first to third, it's a 1-15. But if they throw through, Moses will take second on the overthrow. Seattle's going to send, heck, they're 19-34, so what do they got to lose? They're going to send him to third base. The Royals will have to decide, do we concede that base and keep Moses at first, or do we throw through? Man, what do they want to do with that? Seattle, they're gonna concede the base. They want to keep that double play in order. So let me revise this previous at bat by Moses. It will be a single with a two-base advancement now, as going to third is Ramos. But it was Kansas City's conscious decision not to throw it to third to keep Moses at first base. So, although Moses could get could steal. So Moses, to get the lead, 2 through 10 or 12, he gets thrown out with an 11. 15 minus 2 here would be a 1 to 11 to try to steal. So I think they won't send him, but they will have to hold him. And here's Harold Reynolds. So, all right, Ben, we thought alike then. Very good. Well, we'll see if it works out or not. If Reynolds hits into a double play, it'll work out. Because now you got runners at the corners, 1 out. Man, I'm still playing in. I'm not. Reynolds is pretty quick. I'm not going to trust the double play, even though he does have some ground ball A's. I am going with the infield in on this one. We're going to play the infield in. 3-8, and that's a pop up to second, infield fly rule, so it doesn't matter. It's a pop up to second for out number 2. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe he should have thrown to third, because now you have second, third with 2 outs, and it wouldn't make a difference. But you don't. When you're playing this, you obviously don't know what the next results are going to be, so you're trying to take the lesser of 2 evils. But anyhow, runners at the corners now. Clutch situation for Mickey Brantley. He loses a hit in the clutch 1-2. Everywhere else he's neutral. Trying to give the Mariners the lead. 1-4. It's a ballpark single check, and that's a 2. He will do it. Base hit, Mickey Brantley, courtesy of the Kingdom. And he gets a base hit. Moses will only go to second because of the 1-star advancement. But the Mariners grab a 2-1 lead. Mickey Brantley paying dividends already. And here is Phil Bradley. Let's see if Brantley would try to steal. He could. He's got a 2 through 5 to get the lead. See if he can get that lead. He does, so he's going to go. 17 being held to 15, minus 2 to 13. 1 to 13. And he's in there, and it's a possible throw in here on Owen. His T rate's an 11. But he does not throw it away. But it will be a stolen base for Brantley. But Johnny on spot was Frank White to prevent the overthrow. But Brantley picks up a stolen base. He's in scoring position with 2 outs. Makes this a clutch at bat. And in the clutch again, he loses 3 hits here, does Phil Bradley. 2-6, 2-7, and 2-10 are all outs. 3-9, and that's going to be a fly to center. That'll end the inning. But the Mariners pick up 2 runs and take the lead 2-1 after 5. And how about that? Mr. Guterman has now been given a lead to work with. You know what? You're right, Ben. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I forgot that Moses was at second base. So we're going to extinguish. No, Moses went. Did Moses go to third? Yeah, Moses went to third on the base hit. Or did he? No, he didn't. He went to second on the base hit. Let me figure out what I did here. I did something wrong because the computer is telling me Moses is on third. So obviously I typed something in or whatever. That was wrong. Let me check the play-by-play account and see what happened here. Moses singled. All right. Reynolds singled first to second. Oh, you know what? It gave me a double steal in here, which was ridiculous. So thank you for catching that, Ben. That was not a stolen base. So it didn't affect anything because the next batter made an out, fortunately. But yes, there is no stolen base. Thank you for that catch there. It is, like I said, fortunately it didn't affect anything with runs or anything like that. But yeah, he can't steal second because it's already occupied. So let me go back one more time and undo that erroneous steal. And it allowed it on direct entry because all it did was make a double steal out of it. So But that's been revoked, and now the fly to center for Bradley will finish out the inning. Thank you for catching that. Now we're hopefully straight. It's 2-1 ball game, top of the sixth. This is the fatigue inning for Guterman. He'll be facing Owen, Wilson, and Seitzer. 2-4, and that's a ground ball to third. So easy play for the Hound Dog Presley, one away. If you wonder why I didn't pinch it for Owen, it's my house rule is we have to be in the seventh inning or later to pinch hit for starters unless there's a pitching change. All right, so here's Willie Wilson. He's 0 for 2. 3-6, and that's going to be a 1-2 single. Anything else he lines to short, so he will line it to short. 2 down. And here's Kevin Seitzer. He's also 0 for 2 on the day. 1-7, and that's a 1-4 double. That's a 9. It'll be a 2-out single for Seitzer. He could try to get the lead, but -1. Be a 1-12. It might be worthwhile to try that if he can get the lead. Needs a 5 or a 6. Doesn't get the lead, so it's a moot point anyway. And here's Danny Tartable. Tartable is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. 2-6 for Tartable. That's a 1 for a triple. Anything else he flies to center. Anything else he will fly to center field. And that's going to be the end of the inning. The 2-6 was a 1 for a triple. Anything else he flies to center. All right, that's going to end the inning, and Guterman will keep almost full endurance into the 7th inning. Bottom of the 6th we go. This will be the fatigue inning for Danny Jackson also. He'll be facing Christensen, Presley, and Davis, the scheduled hitters. .612 is a single on the advanced side, but this is a line out to short. Usually there's a split here, but I'm reading this where it just means a line out 1-20 because there's no drop down here, so it's an automatic line out the way I read it. Line out to short. In the advanced game, that would have been a single, but super advanced, it's a line out. Here's the Hound Dog, Jim Presley. 2-6 for Presley. Rounds it to short. Salazar makes the play. 2 down for Alvin Davis. So Danny Jackson trying to get back on track after a rough 5th inning. 5-3, lefty is a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Balboni. He's a 4 E18. And a 4 and a 4. That's going to scoot by Mr. Balboni for sure. 4 and a 4 will be a base hit. That's a 6. And he's an E18. There is no 6 there, but Balboni with that ball hit on the turf had no chance. Scooted right by him. 2-out single for Alvin Davis. And that'll bring up Dave Valley. Davis will not be held, obviously, at first base. Valley. 3-11, and that's a ballpark single check. It's only 1-5, though, so he lines it to short. And Danny Jackson keeps some endurance into the 7th inning as well. So both pitchers will ride some endurance into the 7th with most of their endurance still intact. And due up for the Royals, it will be Benitez, White, and Jackson. Pinch hitting is now allowed on either side. If we get to the bottom of the orders, especially for the Royals, they might want to pinch it for Owen. We'll see. Here's Benitez, 6'5", and that's going to be a pop out to first base. Not sure how well that showed up. Let me move this over here a little bit more. Maybe now, since we're getting to the later innings, I'll move this thing over just a hair. Make sure it shows up the way I would like it to show up. There we go. Now you can see the whole thing, I think. All right, so 6'5" is a pop up to first. All right, so Benitez is out, and here's Frank White. He's 1 for 2. 5-3 is a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Christensen. He's a 3E6. 3 and a 7. Should get to that. 3 and a 7, barely. F1 gets to it. That's a 9. And he is an E6. E6, no 9. So Christensen makes the play. 2 down. 2 down for Mr. Bo Jackson. Bo knows. 2-6, and Bo knows how to strike out. For Guterman, that is his 3rd strikeout. Danny Jackson still doesn't have a strikeout through 6 innings. Very unusual, but he does not. So Guterman can go into the 8th inning now because he's still got some juice left. We're at the 7th inning stretch. Check my coffee status. No, we're still doing good with the coffee, so I don't need a 7th inning stretch break. We will keep it going. Here's Domingo Ramos. 1-8, and that's a base hit for Domingo Ramos. Boy, he's anti-clutch here, but this is not a clutch situation. So Ramos gets the base hit. And that'll bring up John Moses. Now, don't usually like to do this, but I feel like with a 1-run lead, they'd love to have a 2-run lead. So we're going to have John Moses bunt. We'll see if the Royals are expecting it. They are expecting it. So he will become a B bunter. And let's see here. Check any kind of havoc. That's a 1, so it's possible wild pitch before we can get to the bunt. His wild pitch rating is a 4. And it is a 4, so how about that? We don't need the bunt because he just tossed the wild pitch, which is why I always do the havoc before the bunt, because you never know when it might not be needed. So now Moses will swing away because the runner's already in scoring position. So that changes that strategy and gets me off the hook having to bunt. 2-7, and that's going to be a walk. So how about that? Danny Jackson might be nearing the end of his outing here as the bullpen for the Royals is starting to stir. We got some right-handers coming up at the top of the order, so right-handed activity in the Royal bullpen. Let's see who is the most rested. I'd like to go with Quisenberry, but he may be overworked. Yeah, he's definitely overworked. So he needs some rest. Actually, all their bullpen is overworked. Except for Steve Farr and Jerry Don Gleaton. Those two are not overworked. But with the right-handers coming up, they will get Steve Farr loosening in the bullpen. So Steve Farr is finishing up or is doing his warm-ups in the bullpen, and he would come in to face Mickey Brantley. This is probably going to be Danny Jackson's last batter that he's going to face, depending on what happens, of course. But now Reynolds is up in an obvious bunt situation. I'm not even going to roll for this to see if the corners are in because Kansas City knows he's bunting. And it's an obvious bunt situation. But did Harold Reynolds, did he watch the Baseball Tonight video or, teaching videos to remember how to bunt is the question. So the bunt, a 3. And I believe that's to the first baseman, but I'll double check it. 3. I'm sorry, it's to the catcher. So this one, Owen's going to come out from behind the plate and make the play. But he is a B bunter, so he basically needs a 9 or less to have a good bunt. That's a 10, so he's going to pop it up. How about that? He pops it up. So Harold Reynolds needs to go back and watch some more of those videos. He pops it up to Owen, and everybody has to hold. Nobody got doubled off, but they couldn't advance the runner. And now with Mickey Brantley up there, you're wondering if they would go to the right-hander Steve Farr. Although Jackson still got some juice left in him, but you got 4 consecutive right-handers coming up. Man, tough call there for the manager of the Royals. I think they're going to make a move and go to the bullpen. They are going to go to Steve Farr to try to keep it a 1-run game. So Steve Farr will be coming on in place of Danny Jackson. Jackson's going to go 6 1/3 innings. He will give up 6 hits. So far, 2 runs, but these 2 are his responsibility. He didn't strike anybody out, which was very, very strange. He walked 3, but no strikeouts. So far, 2 runs, but he couldn't give up as many as 4. And so Steve Farr coming into the ball game. He's got a +5 hold. That's not going to help his cause any. So it's going to be a +4 combined. So Steve Farr is into the ball game. In the real season, 4-3 with a 4.15 ERA and 1 save. On the replay, he's 2-1 with a 5.14 ERA and 5 saves. So Steve Farr will be on to face Mickey Brantley. They're looking for the double play to get out of the inning. So 3-4, and that's a line out to third base. Seitzer snags it. Everybody gets back to their home base. So it's 2 away. 2 away, and it's going to be up to Phil Bradley in a clutch situation. In the clutch against the righty, he loses a hit on a 1-7 and a 2-10 and a 2-5. So 3 spots he's going to lose singles. 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Farr. So Steve Farr came in and shut the door and keeps this ball game a 2-1 ball game. So there might have been some second guessing about whether to bring in Farr or not. It was a 50-50 call. Pardon the pun for Strat, being a 50-50 call, but it's a call that was made, and fortunately for the Royals, it worked out. So top of the 8th, and this will be Luke Guterman's final inning one way or the other, because I don't like to go more than 2 innings past what's on his card unless he's pitching a shutout, which he is not. So he's going to be facing Balboni, Salazar, and most likely actually might get a pinch hitter for both of these guys. It's possible they'll pinch hit for both players. But Balboni, they're going to go and let him swing. 5-6 for Balboni. That's a 1-8 double. And that is an 8. So bye-bye Balboni with a leadoff double. And they may pinch run for him. So let's look at the bench players for the Royals and see who's available so you can play along with the strategy. Pinch hitting, left-handed, Orta, Quirk, and Bosley. Right-handing, Pacoda, Biancalana, and Hal McRae. Pinch running purposes, let's see, Bosley's a 13. So, actually, they're going to keep Balboni in the game right now. But they will pinch hit for Angel Salazar with Bill Pacoda. And Pacoda will come in and will stay in the game to play shortstop. So Bill Pacoda, with Goodman still in there, they want to go to a right-hander off the bench, rather. So if you bring in a righty, then it opens up the left-handed relief pitchers. So they're going to stick with Goodman, and it'll be Bill Pacoda coming on, and he will take over at shortstop. Pinch hits in the 8th and shortstop in the 8th. So we'll bring Pacoda in from the computer and get his numbers on the replay. Compare that to real world. And we'll see what happens. Al McRae has picked up a bat and will hit for Larry Owen. So let's see, on the real season, Pacoda, 276 hitter, 3 home runs and 156 at bats. Hello, Ryan. Let's see, on the replay, he's hitting 231, a homer and 2 RBI and 26 at bats. Balboni at second, nobody out. And here is Pacoda. 3-9 against the lefty, and that's a walk. So Pacoda will draw the base on balls. And now if you're the Royals, you're looking for somebody to bunt. And actually Larry Owen is an A bunter, so they're going to keep Larry Owen in the game. Because now it is an obvious bunt situation, or you would think it would be an obvious bunt situation, to get the tying and go-ahead runs in scoring position. Seattle knows that they're going to be doing that, so it becomes a B bunter. So let's see where the bunt goes. It's going to go back to the pitcher, Guterman. But he's going to be a B bunter. Larry Owen trying to get the bunt down if he can. Needs a 9 or less. 6 is going to be defense. So now the defense has a choice. Do they try for the lead runner? The lead runner's Balboni. He's only a 10. So they have a good chance to throw Balboni out at third base. So it says, compute the lead runner's safe range as running speed -4 plus the fielder's defensive rating. Guterman's defensive rating is a 2. It doesn't show it on his card, but on the computer it's a 2. So it's run rating -4 plus the 2. So his run rating is a 10. Minus the 4 makes him a 6. The +2 is an 8. So 1 to 8, he's going to be safe on a 1 to 8, but a 9 or higher, they'll get the force at third base, and you've got to go for that. If you're Seattle, you got to throw for the lead dog here. So a 9 to 20, they throw him out. 1 to 8, we got bases loaded. Oh, he's safe. How about that? Boy, Guterman thought they were going to get him, but it ends up being a fielder's choice, and everybody's safe. How about that? You would think on that percentage you'd have, basically 55% chance of getting him out, and it just didn't work out. Maybe they should have took the maybe it should have took, hello Ryan, thing on that 2020 Imagine Set. Strat-O-Matic did get back to me in the email and told me they were shipping the extra cards to me, the additional players that I didn't get. So hopefully that will happen soon. We shall see. Hello, Jimmy Jam. So unfortunately for Guterman, tried for the force on Balboni, but it didn't work. And now the bases are loaded. The bases are loaded. With nobody out for Willie Wilson. And now the Seattle bullpen, let's look and see who they have available. 3 right-handers, Mike Trujillo, Steve Shields, and Jerry Reed, and 1 lefty, Bill Wilkinson. So let's see if Jerry Reed has some juice left in him or whether he's been overused. I don't want to overuse the guys. Got to be realistic as best as possible, I would think. And also Ed Nunez. I didn't show him there, but he's also been added to the bullpen. Let's see here. Jerry Reed has not been overused. They're going to let Guterman pitch to Wilson, but Jerry Reed will come in and face Seitzer and Tartabull. So this is the last batter that Guterman's going to face. It's the bases loaded, nobody out. You got to play for the double play. You're trying. You don't care if you give up well, you do care, but 1 run is one thing. Giving up 2 or 3 runs is a totally different matter. So they're going to play back for the double play against Willie Wilson. That's a 5-2. That's a ground ball pitcher B, so that's going to be a force at the plate. So it's a fielder's choice. They will get the lead dog, Balboni, 1 to 2 on a fielder's choice. Everybody else moves up, and that's going to be it for Guterman. He will finish, and they will go to the bullpen for Jerry Reed. 1 to 2 on the out. Hey, Jimmy Jam. I'll see what I can do, Jimmy Jam. Let's see here. Jerry Reed will be coming on to face Kevin Seitzer. Guterman's going to go 7 1/3 innings for Guterman. He's going to give up 4 hits and just 1 run, but he's responsible for all 3 runners on base, so he could lose the game as well. He struck out 3 and walked 1, looks like. So Jerry Reed is going to come on. +6 on the hold, so that's not going to help his cause. And he +3 when he put it with Valley. But he's not worried about that particular function right now. He's just trying to get out of the inning. A double play would get them out of the inning with Kevin Seitzer at the plate. So let's bring in Jerry Reed on the computer and see how he's doing compared to real world. Jerry Reed. So Reed on the real season, 1-2 with a 3.42 ERA and 7 saves. On the replay, not nearly as well. He's 2-2, but his ERA is 7.62 with 3 saves. So he has definitely not been up to snuff. Hello, Brad. Merry Christmas to you. With the Imagine set, I have no idea. I've got to get the extra players in first. And Strat-O-Matic sent me an email telling me that when I told them what happened with my order that got messed up, they emailed me back and told me my order has now gone back into processing so that they can send me the extra players that were not included that should have been in my order. So once I get those, then I'll try to figure out something. But that's a potential thing to do for a demolition type league because it's kind of a fantasy type thing as it is. And hello, H Field, good to see you. So bases loaded, 2-1 ball game, top of the 8th, 1 out, bases loaded. Jerry Reed is now in for Guterman to try to get out of the mess. Got to face Kevin Seitzer, and after that, Danny Tartable. But a double play would get them out of the inning, and they are playing back for that double play. 5-4, and that is a catcher X. So catcher X is Dave Valley. He's a 2E2. That's a very good catcher defensively, 2E2. 2 and a 4, though. A little rough on the D20 there. Double die didn't do him any favors. 2 and a 4 is a W/G, so I think we got a wild pitch coming up here, most likely. That's a 12, and he's an E2. There's no problem there. But W/G, with runners on base, a wild pitch is uncorked. So how about that? We're going to tie the game with a wild pitch. A wild pitch will score Salazar. I'm not Salazar, rather, it'll score the pinch hitter, Dakota, who's going to stay in the game and play short. He scores. Owen will take third, and Wilson will take second. It takes a double play out of the equation and will force the infield to play in now. So that was a huge wild pitch to have that happen, thanks to that nasty little D20 there. So Seitzer still at the plate. Second and third. 1 run is in. Infield is in. Jerry Reed has to calm down. He got a little wild here on his first attempt. And now he's got a 1 for a wild pitch. It might be another wild pitch. Let's check the wild pitch rating on Jerry Reed. But do I allow back-to-back wild pitches is the other thing. That might be a little bit overboard. He's got a wild pitch rating of 2. I tell you what, if it comes up with a 1 or a 2, I'll allow it. It's unbelievable. Do you believe that? Should I allow that is the question. Should I allow back-to-back wild pitches, or is that too funky? Or do you think that's just too way out there? So we're going to have another wild pitch before he even faces a batter. There's 2 wild pitches on Jerry Reed. Unbelievable. He's doing what they say can't be done. He's throwing 2 wild pitches at one time. Now Wilson's at third with nobody out. I'm sorry, with 1 out, so the infield's obviously still in. At least there won't be a wild pitch this time. Seitzer, 110, and that's a single to center field. That will score another run. So all of these runs are going to be charged to Guterman. He will end up taking the loss if the score doesn't change for Seattle's benefit. Base hit Kevin Seitzer. 3 runs are in. Kansas City now leads it 4-2. We can close the book on Guterman. He's going to give up all 4 of these runs. And they're all earned because wild pitches are earned, unlike pass balls. So RBI single from Kevin Seitzer, and the Royals lead it 4-2. And Jerry Reed obviously was not the answer that Seattle was looking for. Here's Tartable. Hello, Mike, and hello, are you ready? 6-4. Whoops, 6-4 is a catcher X. Hopefully we don't have another wild pitch. Valley again is a 2E2. With a decent D20. Yeah, 2 and a 16. That's much better for Valley. 2 and a 16 is a foul out. So it should be a foul out. That's an 11, and it's an E2, so there's no error there. So it's just a foul out to Mr. Valley. And Tartable is retired. Now here's the DH Beniquez. 1-9, and that's going to be a base on balls. That'll keep the inning going for Frank White. Yes, Ben, I think you are correct. It kind of encapsulates their whole season in a nutshell, what's happening here. And here is Frank White. 1-3 for White. Look at this. A 1-9 is a home run. That is gone right on the number. Do you believe that? It's just imploding for Seattle. 1-9 is a home run for Frank White, and that is a 9. A 3-run home run from Frank White and Jerry Reed. I'll tell you what, the Royals are taking him eastbound and down and just rolling him like crazy. 3-run homer for Frank White, his 6th of the replay. RBIs 17, 18, and 19. And now that is 6 runs in for the Royals in this inning. They've got a 6-pack going. And Dick Williams just threw his hands up. He didn't know what to do. Yep, as it turned out, Ben, the wild pitches had no effect. The only thing it might have done is it took away the double play chance, but they didn't roll a double play anyway. So what are you going to do? All right, here's Bo Nose. He's the 9th man to bat in the inning. He's 0 for 3 with a strikeout, so he hasn't done anything yet. 2-4, and he gets hit by a pitch. Boy, you wonder if that was intentional. After the 3-run homer, we get a hit by pitch. We get a hit by pitch. Are you kidding me? And that's going to be it for Jerry Reed. He couldn't get it done. And Bo's not very happy about it, I can tell you. He is not happy about it. So Seattle will go to their bullpen for Steve Shields. He will be coming on to pitch. Try to get through the mess. Steve Shields. Jerry Reed, poor Jerry Reed, only got 1 out. And he gave up, let's see here, 2 hits, a walk, a hit by pitch, 3 runs. And obviously no strikeouts. So Steve Shields is on. Be facing Balboni, who doubled to lead off the inning. He's back up there as they bat around. So we'll go to the bullpen for Steve Shields. And Jerry Reed will go back into the clubhouse, not very happy. And Dick Williams says, I'm not happy either, so we're even. So Steve Shields on the real season, 2-0 with a 6.60 ERA and 3 saves. On the replay, he's done very well in the replay. He's 0-0 with 1 save, but an ERA of 1.17 in just 8 innings of pitching. He only pitched 30 real world, but see what he does here against Bye-Bye Balboni with Bo Jackson at second base, or at first base, rather. Now, Bo Jackson might try to steal here just to get a payback for that hit by pitch, because Shields is a +2, which makes him a +1. I'm sorry, a -1 when you put it together with Valley. So Jackson, if he gets the lead, will be a 1-13. So they're going to try it. They're going to try to rub it in their faces, but it didn't work out. He didn't get the lead. So cooler heads prevail, and Bo Jackson will stay put. 3-7 for Balboni, and he strikes out to end the inning. But a 6-pack coming in for the Mariners, and they take a 7-2 lead. And what looked like a great outing for Guterman now looks like a very pedestrian one, and he's going to end up most likely dropping to 0-3 unless something really horrific happens. And Steve Farr, the benefactor of all these runs. So Steve Farr will be the pitcher of record for the Royals. He's going to be facing Christensen, Presley, and Davis for the Mariners. Now, do the Mariners go to one of their lefties off the bench for Christensen? Christensen's 0 for 3, so they're going to bring in a pinch hitter, a lefty, their normal right fielder, and that's Mike Kingery. So Kingery will pick up a bat and hit. Christensen was in there against the lefty starter, but now as a righty in the game, they will go back to their more normal right fielder, Mike Kingery. And Kingery will stay in the game to play right field in the 9th. Try to get something started. Almost feel like it's useless to try anything else now at this point, but might as well try something. And on the computer, I got to make sure Pacoda gets assigned the new shortstop. And we'll go to Mike Kingery off the bench for Christensen. Kingery on the real season, 280 hitter with 9 home runs. On the replay, he is hitting 241 with 4 home runs, 14 driven in, against Steve Farr. 6'7", lefty, is a base on balls, so got to start somewhere. Get a leadoff walk. Of course, down 7-2, they're not going to try to steal. They will hold him on, because if you don't hold him on, he automatically gets the lead and he would steal. So they're going to have to at least hold him on, but he won't try anything. Here's Presley. He's 0 for 3. He could use one. 3-7, and he gets a strikeout again, make it 0 for 4. So that's not helping the cause. And here's Alvin Davis, first baseman. Davis is 1 for 3. Nothing on that. 4-8. 4-8 is a 1-9 double. That's an 18. It's a single 2 stars. That'll put runners on the corners. So Kingery will get over to third base. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Infield, of course, back for a double play with a 5-run lead. Now, do you pinch hit for Dave Valley? He's a 256 hitter. He did triple earlier. He is 1 for 3. But they're going to make the move for a pinch hitter. They are going to bring in Scott Bradley, their left-handed hitting catcher, who hits 278. And he'll stay in the game to catch in the 9th inning. So Scott Bradley will come on and pinch hit for Dave Valley. Is Dick Williams doing anything he can think of to try to spark something? So we'll bring in Scott Bradley. See what he can do. That leaves Ken Phelps and another catcher, Bob Kearney, on the bench. That's who's remaining on their bench. So Bradley hit 278 with 5 homers real world. On the replay, he's hitting 267 with no homers. They don't really need a homer. They're down by 5. They need base runners. They need continual base hits and keep the train moving. That's what Seattle really needs. Here's Bradley. 310 for Bradley. And as a fly ball to right field, that's 2 away. And takes us to Ramos. Now Ramos, 311 hitters, so he's a good hitter. We're not going to take him out. Let him swing away. 6-6 against Farr, and that's a 1-2 triple. That's an 18. That'll be a single 2 stars. So a RBI single off the bat of Ramos. He's now 2 for 3 in the ball game. Scoring is Kingery. Cuts the lead to 7-3. Alvin Davis will take third. And so now runners are on the corners with 2 outs for John Moses. 7-3 ball game. So Kansas City has to be careful and not let Steve Farr get too loose without being relieved. We'll see how he does here against John Moses. 6-9, switch hitter batting left is a walk. That's going to load the bases for Harold Reynolds. And they can't really pinch it for Harold Reynolds because they got nobody else to play second base. Because they took away the shortstop and added another outfielder, so the infield is pretty stagnant with who they have available. So they're going to have to use Harold Reynolds. They have no choice, even though he's 275 hitter, so he's not bad. But this would be the perfect time to bring in Ken Phelps because he would be the tie and run, and one swing of the bat could tie the game. And also Jerry Don Gleaton, a left-hander for the Royals, is now loosening in their bullpen, as Steve Farr might be losing it a bit. So Jerry Don Gleaton getting ready. Right now it's going to be Harold Reynolds, bases loaded and 2 away. Clutch situation for Reynolds, which he is anti-clutch, 1-9, 110. Also 2-9, 210. It's got 4 outs there that are anti-clutch. 6-7, switch hitter is another walk. It's going to walk in a run. Boy, how much longer can we go with Steve Farr? Now he's starting to implode a bit. RBI walk for Harold Reynolds. Cuts the lead to 7-4 for Mickey Brantley. Wow. I'm not understanding your question. Are you ready? When he hit a fly ball to right, there was only a runner at first. That was it. Or was it a guy on third? Was he on third? It was, what do you call it? Where was he at in that position? Runners on the corners. I think that was a fly ball B ? And I didn't want to take the. I'm not sure, to be honest with you, now that I think about it, but it's irrelevant because he scored anyway. So I'd have to go back and look and see what happened on the play, but he scored nonetheless because of all the other stuff that's happened. So this is Steve Farr's last batter. If he doesn't get Brantley here, he's coming out and Don Gleaton's coming on. I think you're right. Are you ready? But it's already, I've already got it all in here now, so I'm just going to go with it. Brantley with the bases loaded and 2 outs facing Steve Farr. 3-10 for Brantley, and that's a fly to left to end the inning. So Farr will get out of the inning, but he will leave the ball game. And I think they'll turn it to Jerry Don Gleaton to try to save it. 2 runs come in and make it a 7-4 ball game as we go to the 9th inning. So we'll figure out the numbers on Farr. He's going to go an inning and 2/3. Will Farr struck out 2, walked 2, well, actually walked 3. That was his big problem with all the walks. 2 hits and 2 runs, which were earned. All right, so it's either going to be Don Gleaton or Quisenberry, depending on how it comes up with the score or whatnot. Depends on if the score stays the same or if Kansas City scores another run or whatever. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. So let me put this in the computer and get this inning completed as Brantley flies to left. And now coming in to catch. After he pinch hit, Bradley will stay in the game to catch. And Kingery will stay in the game to play right field. But on the bench for Seattle, Ken Phelps and Bob Kearney. That's all they have left, so they're limited on their pinch hitting possibilities. Due up for the Royals will be Pacoda, Owen, and Wilson. And since they've got a 3-run lead, they're not going to pinch hit for Owen because he's a good defender. So they will leave him out there. So we have Shields back out to pitch the 9th. And he'll be facing Pacoda, Owen, and Wilson. We get a 6-5. That's trouble. 1 to 15 is a home run, and that's a 4. But Pacoda has weak power, so will only be a single for Pacoda. Leadoff single for Pacoda. And now Owen's going to be up there to bunt, and everybody and their brother knows it, so the infield corners are in. And let's see where the bunt's going to go. It's going to go to the 5, which is, I believe, third base, but I'll double check it. Actually, first base. So Alvin Davis will be fielding this. B bunter. That's an 8, so it's a good sacrifice. So it's going to go sacrifice hit. We're just going to say 3 unassisted, as Owen didn't make much move from the plate, so it just came kind of strolled up the line, and they tagged him out going up the line. So that's one away on the sacrifice by Larry Owen. Gets a insurance run in scoring position for Willie Wilson. .612, and he is a switch hitter batting left. That's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Bradley. It's a 2E5 for Bradley. 2 and a 4. That's going to be close. 2 and a 4 is an F1, so he'll make the catch, but the runner's going to advance. That's a 10, and he is an E5, so that's not a problem. But the F1 means that Bakota will take third base on the fly out to left. It was so deep that he was able to tag up. So that's out number 2, but the runner does go to third on the F1. Now there's 2 away for Kevin Seitzer. Clutch situation for Seitzer. 2-7 for Seitzer, and that's a fly to center, and that will end the inning. So Shields keeps the Royals from scoring any more. Shields will go an inning and a third, and he got a strikeout, no walks, 1 hit, no runs. So bottom of the 9th we go, and due up for the Mariners, it will be Bradley, Kingery, and Presley. So they will bring on Jerry Don Gleaton to try to secure the save. Let's bring him on the computer. So Gleaton, let's get his numbers on the replay. On the real season, 4-4, 4.26 ERA, and 5 saves. On the replay, he's 0-1 with no saves and a 4.76 ERA. So this is his first. He had 5 saves real world. This is his first save that he's going to attempt on the season. He'll be facing righty, lefty, righty with Bradley, Kingery, and Presley. What it also does probably is keep Ken Phelps on the bench. So here's Gleaton facing Phil Bradley. 2-7, and that's a solid single for Bradley. Leadoff single. Bradley, a really good base runner. Gleaton, though, is a -4, so that'd be a -5 for Gleaton. So down by 3 runs, there's no way in the world they're going to send him. They will have to hold him on, because if you don't hold him on, he takes second base pretty much automatically. So they will hold him on just to keep that double play in order. And here's Kingery, lefty on lefty. They pinch hit for Christensen with Kingery against the righty. And now you got lefty-lefty, so Kingery's going to have to face that. 4-12, and that is a strikeout for Gleaton. Big strikeout there. That will send up the hound dog, Jim Presley, and another lefty, Alvin Davis, right behind him. That's a 1. Gleaton's wild pitch rating. Got to get that off the computer because the card doesn't have it. Gleaton's wild pitch rating is, a 16. So it will be a wild pitch. That takes a double play out of the equation. So wild pitch moves him to second base. And here's Presley. 3-2, and that's a fly ball to right field for out number 2. 2 down, and that will send up Alvin Davis. Last chance for the Mariners, down by 3. Davis needs to reach. 2-10, but he's going to ground it to third, and that's your ball game. Seitzer makes the play. Ball game is over. Jerry Don Gleaton gets his first save of the season. He had 5 real world. He gets 1 here. Gets that save. A 7-4 ball game. Guterman takes the loss. He drops to 0-3. The winner is Steve Farr. And we'll get the numbers off the box score to get his totals. And we can wrap this game up and get ready for the National League game tomorrow, Pittsburgh and the Mets. So this was a couple of lefties starting this game. And we'll go to the box score here. Farr gets the win. He's now 3-1 on the replay. Gleaton 1 inning pitched. He gave up a hit, and that was it. Got a strikeout. So final line score for Kansas City, 7 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. For Seattle, 4 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. I've got one too many hits here. Okay. I messed this one up. Danny Jackson only gave up 5 hits, not 6. There we go. Story of the game also, the Seattle Mariners left 10 runners on base. Kansas City only left 4. So the 10 runners left on base certainly didn't help their cause. Kansas City improves to 25-26. The poor Mariners dropped to 19-35. Player of the game, Frank White. His 3-run home run really was the coup de grace in that 6-run 8th inning, but it was capped off by the 3-run homer from Frank White. So Frank White is your player of the game. Mr. Frank White. He is the player of the game. Mr. Frank White, 17 home runs in the real season. And in this one, he hit his 6th on the replay. So Frank White is the man. And we go to the standings now, complete standings after the June 5th dates are complete. We have Oakland leading the West with a record of 29-23. Chicago and California are tied. Let's see if I can make this work. I couldn't make it work before, but I'm going to try to make it work this time. You never know when things will work and when they won't work. But either way, I'm going to try it. See if I can get it to go. So we'll see if I can actually make this thing work or not. Sometimes the glare is a little bit rough. But I am going to try to show the standings if I can. If it shows up without the glare, that's the problem. I don't know if it can do it. Focus can do it or not. Probably not going to work as well. And I don't have the know-how to do the capture screen while I'm doing this at the same time because I'm not using OBS or anything. I'm just using YouTube. I don't know if it's going to work. But anyway, I'll try to explain it to you and show it to you at the same time if I can. And it's just not working too well with me. Oakland lead. I'll just have to read it because I don't think it's going to work well. I tried, but it's just not working well. Technology just isn't there. But Oakland is at 29-23. They lead the West by 3 games over Chicago and California. And Kansas City with the win pulls to win 3.5 back. So, and only 3 back in the loss column. So they're right on their heels. Minnesota 4.5 back, Texas 5 back, and poor Seattle now 11 games back. In the East, Milwaukee leads Toronto by 1.5 games, and leads the Yankees by 2 games, and leads the Tigers by 4.5. Cleveland, Boston, and Baltimore are 13, 15, and 17 games back. So they're way out of it. So we got a 4-team race in the American League East. And we have a 5-team race, actually a 6-team race in the American League West. So the only teams that are really out of it, there are 4 teams that are no longer in contention: Cleveland, Baltimore, Boston, and Seattle. Everybody else has a chance to advance in the playoffs or get to the playoffs and win the division. So they're still in it, is what I meant to say. So coming up next on Saturday will be the National League game from June the 5th. And it will be the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the New York Mets. It'll be Dwight Gooden for the Mets against Mike Dunn for the Pirates. I believe that's from Shea Stadium. Could be from Three River, but I think it's from Shea Stadium. I have to double check it. But that's the National League game. The first game on Monday morning for the June 6th date in the American League will come from Fenway Park. It will be the Detroit Tigers taking on the Boston Red Sox. It's a nice pitching matchup. Frank Tanana for the Tigers against Roger Clemens for the Red Sox. So that will be the matchup. the first game out on Monday morning. Like I said, on Saturday, we'll have the National League game, and it will be from Shea Stadium. It will be Pittsburgh and the Mets. Mike Dunn against Dwight Gooden. That will be from Shea Stadium, and that'll be Saturday around noonish. But that concludes the June 5th dates for the American League. And I can put this score sheet into the stack with all the others, cumulatively going on from season start till now. And get all my, I've already got some score sheets printed for this June 6th date, but we'll get there eventually. I might still use some of these old Strat Form B score sheets if I play some of the older games, like from the 60s or something, where I'm not worried about using 5 or 6 pitchers per team. I could do something like that. Just as an outside note, there's a gentleman named Joel Anderson. He was the person I have to thank for sending me all these computer-generated cards for the extra players that were not in the extra players, but only on the computer. So without him sending me these cards, I would not be able to do these replays, at least not very well. I have to print them out on my own when they look awful when I do it. He has some sort of program that makes it work wonderfully well. And he had asked me a question about, hey, Mike, if I didn't say hello to you, he'd asked me a question because I'd said something about how much I like the Action PC manual entry for my Strat game of 1984 that I did with Rick Sutcliffe. Or not 1984, I'm sorry, 1972 game I did with the Phillies and the Cubs. And he asked me about, was it worthwhile to get the Action PC game if you've got the same exact season already in Strat-O-Matic? And I told him point blank, no, it is not worthwhile. If you've already got the game in Strat-O-Matic on the computer, since I've got 1987 on the computer, never mind the fact I've already put in 300 some games already onto that. But even if I was starting a season brand new as a replay, let's say 1967. Say I want to do a 1967 replay. Well, I've got 1967 in the Strat-O-Matic computer. I've also got it on Action PC. But if I've already got on the Strat-O-Matic computer, it just makes sense to use the Strat-O-Matic computer, because that way the missing players you're already covered because you got them off the computer, and you keep everything consistent. Now, my point was, instead of going and paying $30 for a Strat PC set like 1972, instead of paying $30 for the computer version of the 1972 season, I've already got the 1972 season on Action PC. Then it makes perfect sense for me to go over and use that, because that will cover it. And for the missing players, all I have to do for the missing players is, as I'm playing the Strat-O-Matic game, is I clip one button on that game and it switches from manual entry back to the Action PC game. So I play out that at bat in the Action PC game itself for the missing player. And then once that guy finishes, then I go back to my cards, then I just go back and click the next button. It puts me back on manual entry, and I can keep rolling from there. So that would be my suggestion on that. So, Joel, if you're watching later, no, I would not invest in Action PC for the manual entry if you've already got the season in Strat-O-Matic. Now, if you've got a bunch of Strat-O-Matic cards and you don't have the computer season for them, then yes, I would invest in that, because the seasons on Action PC right now are on sale for $9.50 as opposed to the $30 at Strat-O-Matic. So that's just my 2 cents. He had sent me a question in one of the comments, and so I wanted to answer that. I did answer the comments, but I wanted to answer it kind of in person, so to speak, and give my thoughts on it. So Joel, if you're watching this later, those are my 2 cents when it comes to that. I don't really think I need to do a video on it. I just think it's one of those things that it's just not necessary. As much as I like Action PC and I think it's a great game and I want people to experience it, but if you're happy with Strat-O-Matic and you've got the season on the computer, that's the key. If you've got it on the computer already, there's no need to double dip there. Just use what you have. My philosophy. All right, so that's good to go from here. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Hope Santa was good to you. Hope you had a chance to eat some good food, be with family, friends, and enjoy the hobby. Maybe, hopefully, you get a new card set you were looking. But The week's kind of weird because now it doesn't feel. It felt like I just went through a weekend, and now I got the weekend coming up. So it's really, really weird how that happens. But anyway, that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a wonderful Friday, whatever you have planned, and a wonderful weekend coming up. And of course, if you can make it Saturday around noon, we'll have the National League game from 1987, the Pirates against the Mets, Mike Dunn against Dwight Gooden. Till next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.